Welcome back to the great header build-off. Jay's done some printing here on his fancy 3D printer, so I think it's finally time to do some fabrication work with this guy. So at the end of the last episode, you saw Jay fabricate this jig plate for the flange for the header. And since then, you've done some more magics with your printer?
Yeah, at Vibrant, we've got a 3D printer. And what it allows us to do is take the jig parts that we made for placing the runners in the file, and then bring them to real life through the printer, and then put them on the table to know exactly where their runners are going to fall. All right, so I got to go 1, 2, 3, 4 holes for this guy here.
Okay.
So it goes right there. So then I'm going to take this piece. I know that's in place.
Yeah.
Bolt it in.
Yeah.
Then it's secured. Then I know where my collector reference is.
Okay.
So this is mimicking the collector sliding on the primaries.
Right.
All right. So then I know I have to make that runner, this runner here that goes into whatever cylinder.
Mm-hmm.
It has to fall, and I have to slip it in there while I'm fabricating, and then put a little bit of pipe here, put a little bit of pipe on this end, make them join together through the other jig pattern
that'll be bolted on here.
So these all don't fit on the table at the same time.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
No. So if you can see on the file, they're actually overlapping each other.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So you do one runner at a time.
Yeah, I could have printed them all at once, but that's one big piece, and if I damage it or whatever, then I'm kind of out of luck, and it kind of becomes cumbersome if I want to tack underneath on one of the runners.
Right. Better access with individual runners.
Exactly.
Yeah, that makes sense.
All right, so that's all set up. Now we can bolt in the header, bolt these pieces down, or bolt in the header flange, bolt those pieces down, secure this piece, and start making runners.
Sweet. Metal gluing is going to happen.
Yeah,
it's exciting.
TIG welding out. Get the TIG welder out and get us going. So our 1 3/4 tubing has got to fit in this oval hole. So how are we going to do that? Well, we've got to take a little bit of tube, squish it in a vise, tack it in place, maybe hammer it around, or hammer it into the contour of the oval profile. Now how well it's going to fit first try, we don't know. So we're just going to pop it in there, see how well it fits. If we need to stretch it out in the corners, then we just go in there with like a chromium ball on the end of a stick, pound it out, and it'll stretch into place, and then we can round out the other side of it gets deformed on our swedger.
So you literally just smash it down, eh?
I'll just squish it down.
Just eyeball it?
Eyeball it up. We could make a die, but right now we're not at that point of production. So I'll start with that.
Oh, look at that. Works remarkably well, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
It's pretty cool. Simple tools sometimes are the best tools.
So start with this, and it's a good it's a good height, I guess we'll say. So what we'll do is we'll do like a 1/2 inch weld on the top and bottom. Take the flange off and hammer it into place with a chromium ball. We got our tubes cut. We put them in the vise for a little bit and cut them. I think they're close to fitting. So just slip those in 2 of these runners. And then doing 2 of the runners first will give us, actually do it here probably, we'll see. But doing 2 runners gives us a good handle for the collector to sit on when we first test fit the header in its position. All right, I got my transitions in place. I'm just going to do a 1/2 inch tack on either side, and then we'll stretch them out and make them fit a little better.
It's time to go medieval on this job. I'm holding hammers for no reason at all, but Jay has the real tools here. Jay, can you explain to us what you're doing?
We are taking basically a small chromium ball, and we're putting it on what you can see as vice grips, holding it in place, and it's going to help me hammer out and contour and stretch the tubing into the profile of the port of the flange. flange and our tubing, or our transitions out of the vise after hammering them out. One of them is a little cockeyed, and they're both out of round, so we're going to take them in here into the expander and true up the ends so that they're ready for the next piping line.
Looks like a pretty good fit. Really, really good fit. What do you think there, DP?
Yeah, it looks great, man. It's just exciting to see
Progress.
some things happening. And
Yeah.
I mean, the beauty of all this planning that you've done and all this work you've done is that this part is kind of like building a puzzle as opposed to like experimenting with what's going to work, right?
Yeah, like there is a degree of guesswork, and there's going to be a degree of tolerance on how accurate you can cut on the saw, and like I don't know how much. That's part of the hurdle of going from computer to real life in this case, or similar cases, that you don't know the tolerance in what the machine's going to do to the metal.
Right.
Like when we were over there expanding pipe, I didn't know how much this would fish mouth.
Right.
And that's why we put it on the sander. So that changes the length on this piece that we cut at a certain distance. Now it's been changed a little bit. So there is going to be some thinking involved in making my next piece, but I've programmed some tolerance into the cradle of the jig here to tell me, okay, I've got a bit of leeway. I've got like 10 thou leeway to move here and there.
Okay.
So we're just gonna start cutting some pipe and laying some bends in here and get this first runner in place, and then do the second one over here.
Let's do it.
All right.
Jay went and raided the Vibrant warehouse for all the goodies we'll need to build the header. And looking at this first runner, he knows that the first bend off of the header transition is a 60-degree bend, right, Jay?
Yeah. To accelerate the build process, if you can reference our catalog or our website and say, oh, they have 60-degree bends in their catalog or on Vibrant's website, it's part number, 13064. You can just grab that 30-degree bend, program it into your model, and then there's minimal guesswork in what that bend's got to be. So you can take it off the shelf, put it into the part. You just have to cut your leg links, and then you're all set to go to the next part.
It's a nice time saver for sure, huh?
Oh yeah, saves you a lot of time. We'll just cut the leg links to fit, and then we're gonna basically do this and kind of make those two tie together, because this has got to come down and then do a slight jog into the collector.
Made a few cuts here, and Jay's just starting to test fit these next three pieces together. Getting close.
Yeah, getting close. So our cuts came in decent.
Yeah.
For the first run, and I just gotta cut this one back, as you can see, and then this will slide down into
down
place.
a bit, yeah.
And then, but I know I can't change this because the model tells me it's got to be 4 inches.
Okay.
So that means I've just got to tailor this bend back a bit so that the straight of this comes in on the tangent of the bend.
Got ya. Speaking of tangents of the bend, Peter, we just caught you coming out of the washroom there, buddy.
Clean hands.
Way to photobomb our video. Starting to look like something, isn't it?
Yep. It's got a little alignment to take care of, and then some more tacking, and we'll be good. All right, so now what we're gonna do is I'm just gonna tape this in place. I'm gonna tack weld it, and then that runner's done, and we can move on to another jig piece. Put that in place for this runner and do the same process over again, and then try and
Repeat
get it
it for
3 more times.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a strategy to try and tack weld it and weld it to make sure that these runners don't move too much while you're completing welds, because every time you put a weld in, that weld, when it shrinks, will slightly move and twist that joint. So that's why it's important that all your gaps are minimal and you know, your fit up is top notch.
So that's the trick to do it.
Yeah, because we want to weld this together without it moving, ideally. I mean, it's gonna want to move and try and shift this bottom part of the jig here, but when this bottom part is gone, they might try and spring together. One might spring apart just because it's relaxing. Mm-hmm. But in the end, when you put it back together and you try and fit it in that collector, you know, you're gonna maybe tweak it back into place again. Right. But when you first run it through its first heat cycle, it's gonna relax a bit, and then it's gonna take some of the stress out. So it's going to be kind of like relaxing the welds a little, and the pipes will want to relax into the collector.
Moving on to runner number 2 here. Or is that, I guess that's technically runner number 4 or 1? I don't know.
Well, we're on runner 1.
Okay.
We're fabbing up runner 1. We've already tacked together runner 4. Right. So
is there a reason you've chosen those 2, or is that just?
Well, it gives us this entry. The entry of runner 1 is going to be down here. It's going to be kitty corner on the collector.
Okay.
So I usually try and pair the 2 farthest apart. If I've got a CAD model to work with, I usually try and pair the 2 farthest apart, tack them together, and then pop it out of the jig, tack together with the collector on it. We're going to fit it, and then that gives me a pretty decent spectrum of how everything's going to fit and go together, see if I've got my clearances right and things like that. So
gotcha.
So far so good.
Yeah. Pete thinks he's a header fabricator now.
We're going to work on this piece here next.
Yeah.
Jay's working on it for me, actually. I've become the brains of the operation here.
Yeah, you're going to fill that hole in there.
Sorry, Jay.
Never let another man touch your work.
Does this go together?
Yeah, exactly. One tube connects to the other tube. That was quick.
It was quick.
Just slapping it on there.
Vibrant part number 10302.
Yeah.
We're gonna fit this on.
Is this your favorite part in the catalog?
No. HD clamps are my favorite part.
Ah, okay.
Tight fit, PT. Look at that.
That's how I like it.
All right.
Slide that on there.
Since I worked so hard, I'm going to do the official test fit on here. See how she goes. I got this wrong. I need to rotate it this way.
Kitty corner. Runners are kitty corner.
Oh, like
right.
that. Get on there. Get on there, DP. Oh, there she goes. All right. Let's go slap this on the beams and see how she fits. Let's see if she fits in the hole. Oh, man. That was too easy.
When you do the first test fit, you want to make sure that at least 3 bolts covering the full width of the flange are tightened to the head, because that'll tell you
What your real spacing is like?
Yeah, because you're making sure any deviances in the flange are removed. That looks really good in there right now. There's nothing touching. Clearances are good.
Yeah. That is a wrap on this episode of the Great Header Build-Off. Big thanks to Jay here for starting this tubular work of art. I'm super happy with how well it fits. I think it's gonna look super sexy. I love these bends here. I know Jay's worried about clearances and not setting things on fire. I just want it to look cool and make cool sounds, and I'm feeling good about it. Next episode, I guess some finish welding, some other fancy water neck stuff maybe.
Yeah, we'll finish the other 2 runners, then finalize all the welding, and then get this collector put in place properly. Gotta take the end off and then make up that thermostat housing.
All right, stay tuned, lots more to come. Now that you see Jay's fancy rig setup with 3D printed pieces and our first primary went on there, it's time to jump over to the Vibrant Performance channel and see what Aaron's doing with his very low-tech simple man approach of just jamming tubes together?
I got welding to do. You've killed enough of my time.
Sorry
I
about that.
gotta go back to work.
I waste his time a lot, that's true.